and I would like to welcome you again to this episode of Try to Edit. And of course, as we have discussed during the last part of last Saturday's episode, we will be talking about video editors this particular morning. But of course, we'd just like to make a disclaimer, mga ka-try, we will not be endorsing any one video editor, but we will be laying down the groundwork of how you will be able to choose the best video editor for yourself. So here are the few things that you need to consider. The first factor to consider is, of course, your career path. Are you looking at this as something that you will do professionally in the future? Or for the time being, you only see it as a hobby? Because if you just see this as a hobby, something that you do once in a while, or for a family project, then probably free solutions or free video editors would be always the best choice for you. But of course, if there's a change in that career path, then that will be the time for you to consider some of the top prosumer video editors that we have on the market. Some free solutions that our friends from the photography and videography bootcamp has shared with us, for example, is Power Director. Sir Cyron Hizon actually recommended this one because he is using this for his video projects. And of course, we also have a prosumer app that has a free version that is being looked into, researched by Sir Lloyd Santiago, is DaVinci Resolve, and something that we will be looking into a bit later. The second thing to consider would be your working machine now. What type of computer do you have? What type of operating system do you have? And what would be the specs of that computer that you have? Because that would be it would determine the type of video editors that would be available for you. For example, if you're on a Windows computer, it doesn't matter what specs you have, you will not be able to use Final Cut Pro because it will be running only on Apple computers. Now, if you are on Windows and you have a medium spec computer, then probably Premiere Pro would have difficulty running on your computer as well. And that makes a big difference because free apps would often use less computer resources so they can run better on low spec PCs. But prosumer video editors would really consume a lot of resources. Now, for example, DaVinci Resolve needs to run on a machine that has a dedicated graphics card with at least 1 gigabyte of memory. So you need to really take into consideration the machine that you are going to use when you are editing videos. The third factor to consider is your workflow. Now, if you're going to do this professionally, and access to a work computer is not a problem for you, you can get what machine that you need or what you want, and it's no problem for you, then this would be the greatest defining factor. It would be your workflow. Because video editors would always have their strong suits and their weak points. That is something that you would like to consider in line with your workflow. Now, to give an example, if you are someone who would like to get into more detail and more control and more aspects of your clips when you are doing editing, and you do not really mind how long it takes for you to edit, and your deadlines are like really far off, then it would be a best choice for you to go and master Premiere Pro. But if you're someone who has very tight deadlines and needs to have like really fast rollouts of videos, for example, SDEs, then Final Cut Pro would be an advantage. So those are the three factors that you need to consider when you are looking for the best video editor that you need for you. Now, to sum up, if you're doing it professionally, then it will be good for you to invest in prosumer apps. But if you're going to do this for hobbies, then probably it'll be best for you to just go for free apps on the market. Now, also always consider the specs that you have on your computer, because the prosumer the app, the higher specs it demands on your computer. And then thirdly, of course, you need to consider your workflow. If you're someone who needs to have fast rollouts, consider the video editors that are good with fast rollouts. But if you're someone who would like to go into the nitty-gritty details of video editing, then look for video editors that will have that level of control that will contribute greatly to your workflow. Now, as we have promised, we'll be looking into the top three prosumer apps that we currently have on the market. That would be Final Cut Pro, Premiere Pro, and also DaVinci Resolve. Now, as we take a dive into these three prosumer apps, of course, we'll be highlighting the key features that they have, their advantages, and of course, we'll be looking into some of the similarities that you need to be familiar with when you are learning learning how to use a video editor. Now, for us to do that, let's transfer to that machine. So here's my desktop, and let's just go right into the Launchpad. We'll just look at the list of apps that I have. I have here installed Adobe Premiere Pro 2020, and then I have also DaVinci Resolve. This is the free version of the application. And I also have Final Cut Pro. Now, personally, I use Final Cut Pro a lot because I am one of those guys who have very tight schedules, very tight deadlines. So I need to have fast rollouts for the videos I produce. So my go-to video editor is Final Cut Pro. But for today, we'll try to just dive into each of these apps and just try to see how they look. Let's try to study initially the user interface, and of course, while we do that, we'll try to come up with the key features for each one of these video editors. So let's dive right in. I think let's begin with the one that's most familiar with me, which is Final Cut Pro. Just click on this icon. So here's the basic interface, basic workspace for Final Cut Pro. As you can see, we can see here on the list on the upper left, you can have a list of events and projects that you can see on this particular side. And on this particular panel, you can actually see all the media that you have for a particular project. And as you can obviously see here is the previous episode of Try Beauty and Wellness. Fun episode, huh? Was very difficult to put on makeup. But this is the actual cut, the actual project that was rendered into the final video that you were able to see last Thursday. So here, this particular portion where my mouse is the area where you import all the media files that you need for a particular project. And then down here with the big space is your timeline. This is where you put all the media in sequence so that you can start editing your videos, cutting them here, putting in title text like this one, and also audio like this one. And of course, we have here the black portion is actually the preview window, and where when you select a particular clip, you put the timeline here to be able to scrub and see what goes on a particular video. And then, of course, on the rightmost part would be the properties for each of these files. For example, if I click on this particular clip, I can actually see all the aspects, the scaling, the position. I can tweak them. I can add color correction. I can even meddle with the audio as well. And then I can look at the clip information as well, how long it is, the sample rate for the audio, and then, of course, the roles that I can assign to it. So basically, what's best about Final Cut Pro is that it's very easy to use, it's very intuitive, the interface is very easy to follow, and it doesn't have a very steep learning curve, because all you need to do is put all of your clips on the timeline and then you start editing. There are only two keystrokes that I mostly use when I'm editing, and that's B for blade. That's the equivalent of cutting your clips, and then if you don't want to cut anymore, then you just click on A. It reverts your cursor to a pointer, such as this one. So B for blade, where you can cut stuff. Then you don't want the blade anymore, you can just change to A. Now, one of the best features of Final Cut Pro is that the resources, since it runs native on Mac OS and on Mac computers alone, the resources are very well managed. You do not need to have very high memory for this one. 16GB RAM would actually be okay to edit 4K videos. and yeah, the resources are well managed. That actually gives the ability for Final Cut to render videos a lot faster compared than the other video editors out there. Now, if you are in a hurry, you do not need to put extra effort in assembling the clips together, because all you need to do is just select the clip that you would like from the media window, and then you just put it where you want to put it, and then it automatically attaches to the last clip in your particular timeline. So this is a very, very handy job, because it relieves you of the act of meticulously putting them together, and making sure that there is no space in between those clips that you put together. But of course, depending on your workflow, then the magnetic timeline can be an edge or could be a pain when you are doing your edits. One of the downsides of Final Cut Pro is that it has a poor implementation of color grading. It's not as good, and the controls are a little bit clunky. It does have a neat workspace when it comes to color grading. For example, I can change mine right now to colors and effects, and you can actually have these windows here. Normally, I would use a layout like this and have a waveform for the RGB. There you go. So this would be what I normally use, and I go for color wheels when I'm using color grading, but they're not as accurate as the other applications in comparison. They're a bit clunky and funky, but if you are someone who is not really into color grading, then this would not be a deal breaker for you. It does the job, but not quite as well compared to the others. So now we are moving on to Premiere Pro, and this is a quick preview of how a Premiere Pro window would look like when it's up and running. I have no projects yet running on this one. I am planning to start one in the next few days, but the quickest approach for learning Premiere Pro is to understand that there are only 4 quadrants to deal with when it comes to this particular video editor. For example, your source clip window here is actually where you can preview your source clips. Then the media browser here, exactly as it says, is a media browser. This is where you input all your clips and the videos and the sound bites that you need for your project. And of course, the program here would be the one that previews the things that you can see on your particular timeline. Now, to give you a quick preview of what it looks like, let's just import one video from Try to Edit Intro. There we go. So media goes here. Then when you double click, it goes here through the source window. Now in the source window, this is where you can audition the clip, or you can review it in its entirety. And then from the controls at the bottom, you can see a go to in and go to out, which can actually determine what parts of the clip you would like to export to your timeline. So for example, I'll be moving this marker head, and I would like to start from this particular part of the clip. Then I will just mark in, then just move this again, and then probably I would like the clip to end here. Then I will just mark it out here, and then there you go. I can just drop it here in my sequence of timeline. So you see, I did not need to cut it here. I would actually audition it, cut that particular clip in, and then drag it to my timeline. And then when I preview this one, it starts. So the clip actually started where we marked it in and ended where we marked it out. So this actually demonstrates the level of control that you can have on the clips when you are using Premiere Pro. It's certainly a fun video editor to really master, especially if you're into creating epic stuff when you're putting together videos. Actually, it's my personal goal to master this again, because the version that I started off was very, very old and really outdated compared to this one, the 2020 Adobe Premiere Pro. So here you go. We are on the third prosumer app that we have, video editor. This is DaVinci Resolve 16. This is the free version of the app. As you can see, it has the same feel like Final Cut, only with a bigger timeline. Now, I have to be honest with you, I haven't really used this for editing sequences yet. I did use this somehow for color grading, because that it would be one of the strong suits for DaVinci Resolve. Its ability to color grade perfectly. The controls are really intuitive, and the results are very good. So I'm not really that familiar with this one, except that it does look like it has that similar feel that it has with Final Cut Pro. For example, this one is the media pool, so I'm guessing this is where all your videos would come in when you import them. Then of course this would be your timeline down here, and this would be the preview window for the video clips that you put in your timeline, or probably when you are auditioning them here in the media pool. I'll be putting up a tutorial for DaVinci Resolve once I get really familiar with this particular editor. Now, in the bottom, you can see that there are a few tabs that you can use. It changes the workspace when you click on this particular tabs. For example, when you click on this one, this is where you gather all your media. You can audition them and then put them in your media pool. And then here is the cutting. This is where you do your cutting for your clips in your media pool before you take them to the next one, which is your timeline. So this is where you put your sequences together. And then, of course, you have your effects, and then you have your colors right here. And then the next tab would be for your audio, if you want to tweak your audio. And then, of course, the last one, the one with the rocket, you can see there, is where you render all these files together for your final product. So the principle for DaVinci Resolve is you need to move from one tab, from the very first tab, to the last one to complete your workflow. This is also a very interesting application to study. So yes, mga katry, those are the top 3 prosumer apps when it comes to video editing currently in the market. Well, I hope, mga katry, that I was able to give you enough information so that you'll have an informed choice when you are making your move to choose which video editor will be best for you. I would like to take time to thank the members of the photography and videography bootcamp that we have under TriPH Media. Your inputs when it comes to your choice of video editors has been a really big help for this particular episode. We've been able to note a few free versions that our mga katry would like to take into consideration as well, and of course your experiences when it comes to the other video editors that we have featured in this episode as well. And of course, mga katry, if you're not yet a member of the Photography and Videography Bootcamp and you would like to do so, please just explore the TriPH Media Facebook page and go to groups and just find your way and apply for membership. Now, what would be the advantage? Of course, if you're starting out in your videography and photography career, then this particular bootcamp would be good for you, since we are employing what we call the social learning platform. We have several industry practitioners inside that group as moderators and administrators, and they are very, very keen in providing you with mentorship when it comes to what you want to learn in your photography and videography career. So yes, please, by all means, come and join us in that particular bootcamp. Thank you so much, mga katry, for your avid support for all the shows on the TriPH Media. We're very happy of your continued viewing. Please continue to like our videos, and of course, sharing would also be a vital part of it, because when you share this, especially to those who would really benefit from the information that we're giving out, that would be in support of our advocacy to help, especially now in trying times. So thank you so much, and would like to extend and express my thanks also for your support, not only for TriPH Media's Try to Edit, but also the other productions that we have under TriPH Media. That includes the 6 new shows that we have that was announced yesterday during the live broadcast. So watch out for those wonderful shows. I personally am looking forward to the Tri-PH Kids under Tri-PH Calabarzon's regional team production. Thank you so much mga ka-Tri, and of course, we'll see you again next Saturday, 10 a.m. This is JM.